think it's first of all to give honor to whom honor is due. And I don't think that it's the regulatory environment that is actually responsible for this drop. We should clap for EFCC, who has been doing a yeoman's job in ensuring that fraud, especially electronic frauds, internet fraud, is reduced to its barest minimum.
This is Souq Business Landscape. Now let's talk some more. Nigeria recorded 51% drop in digital payment fraud losses. That's a good one. Nigeria recorded 51% decline in digital payment fraud losses in 2025. This reflects improvement in identity management, transaction data standards, and deeper collaborations across the financial system, according to Central Bank of Nigeria. The CBN's Deputy Governor for Financial System Stability, Dr. Philip Ikeazo, disclosed this on Wednesday in Lagos during his keynote address at the 2026 Nigerian Electronic Fraud Forum Technical Keynote section. He said coordinated reforms across banks, regulators, and payment service providers have strengthened fraud detection and prevention frameworks. Data released by the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System at the event showed losses from digital payment fraud fell to 25.85 billion in 2025, down from 52.26 billion in 2026. The previous year's figure was significantly inflated by a single 31.1 billion fraud incident involving one banking institution. Officials said the latest data confirms that systemic safeguards are beginning to deliver measurable results across Nigeria's fast-expanding digital payment ecosystem. We have, unfortunately, we have been given this bad name of the Nigerian prince, and is circulating all over the world. And we know very well that that is not who we are. Asians, Americans, Europeans, they all sit wherever they are. Some even come to Nigeria here to perpetrate a whole lot of this fraud on an international scale. But we are the ones that get the bad name. But we are seeing directly what happens in our own banking system, that the fraud level is not even 5% of what we get outside this country. How can we start changing this narrative of the Nigerian prince?
Yeah, but I think it's first of all to give honor to whom honor is due. And I don't think that it's the regulatory environment that is actually responsible for this drop. We should clap for EFCC, who has been doing a yeoman's job in ensuring that fraud, especially electronic frauds, internet fraud, is reduced to its barest minimum. Look at the operation that was done last year, where a number of people from other countries, including our own young people, were arrested, over 150 of them. So they have been busting this area and centers where this thing is happening. And I think they should also be appreciated for the good work that they are doing. Because in terms of fighting the crime, I don't think it's regulation. Because as we speak, those things are still happening, even with the regulations and all the technology that they put in place. Because the fraudster is always a step ahead of the system. So I think for me, first and foremost, is to commend the EFCC of the good job that you're doing to ensuring that Nigeria is financial crime free. There's no doubt about that. And I think, in my own personal opinion, these must have been responsible for the reduction in these incidences of fraud in the digital platforms. And I think that's sad. But you see, I feel that there is a whole lot of things that we need to deal with. Yeah, because there are a lot of things that we tolerate. And I think this is what a number of criminals are also taking advantage of. You see, there's what they call a fraud triangle. When you have a fraud triangle, they say that there's a pressure somewhere, and then you have opportunity on the one leg, and then you can rationalize, then of course fraud happens. Now that third leg of rationalization, and I think that's where we need to actually have to work on. Because the fraudster is very intelligent. He looks at the consequence vis-a-vis what you gain. So when you have a system that is now used to so much of plea bargain, for example, somebody steal 200 billion, and then you say, well, if you can return 120 million or 200 million, it's okay. And then we write an agreement and say, okay, all these other things that you have said, then of course you refund it and you become free on the street. That's an incentive for fraud. Huge incentive. Because you're weighing the options. So if you go to places like China, and you know that when you steal 10 naira, that the chances that you are not going to be seen anymore. You have to think twice before you do it.
Yes.
So how do we elevate consequences for criminal behavior so that people who participate in crime understand that when they are caught, that there's nobody to call anywhere, that you have to face the law. And the cultural inhibitions to consequence management is our problem. Because when a system catches up with a criminal, the criminal has one big uncle somewhere who can be called, who can speak to the law enforcement agents so that we can mitigate the consequences of this crime. These are the ecosystem that's actually making it appealing that even for foreigners to come and say, well, these people, they can condone. So we must have to develop a culture that does not condone crime, no matter how small. That when people know that they are going to pay so much. You remember those days when road safety started, and you commit a small crime, traffic crime in Lagos, and then you have to travel all the way to Maiduguri to go and pay 100 naira fine. Then the fear of road safety was the beginning of wisdom. Because people were thinking, because it's not the fine that was the problem. What was the problem was the fact that if you commit a crime in Lagos, you have to travel so long. You look at the cost of traveling, because at that cost, you are not going to be working. So people, then the fear of road safety was the beginning of wisdom. Now we have POS, that when crimes are done, they can do transfer on the spot. People will just commit crime and then pay you and then move ahead. So consequence management is our problem. And until we start to manage consequence very terribly, that people see that, look, you cannot rationalize going into it. That if you are trying to commit crime, you know that you have signed your own personal death warrant. The environment will still be conducive for crime to happen.
Okay. While we are looking at the environment being conducive and trying to see how we can manage consequences, like Doctor said, let's make this comparison. Our major issue right here is majorly younger people or even elderly people, it doesn't matter the age now, being able to access payment portals or being able to go through the back end of a lot of payment portals or selling you products or services that are not there. We have not had major issues of identity theft like you see in Europe or other Western countries.
Yeah, we do have a bit of it, but it's not.
It's
like
not as pronounced as what
Yes.
we have there. We don't have a case whereby once someone has your identity, he has access to all your credit limits, credit card, and all that stuff. How can we stop us from getting there?
How can we stop us from getting there? Digital literacy, awareness, because I said earlier, we still have a bit of identity theft. We've seen cases whereby people use your identity to borrow money from loan apps.
Yeah, like if they have access to your phone or your
If
SIM
they
card.
have access to your phone or your SIM card, and that's why they say you need to protect your BVN, your NIN. Excuse me. Those are very sensitive details that you need to protect. I know people who do not even do any online transaction. They don't do online.
In 2026?
Yes. They don't do online transactions. My mom is one of them. She doesn't do online transactions. All she does is go to the ATM, withdraw the money, and that's it. No online transaction, because that's so hard. That's how they can protect them. So everybody decides how they protect themselves from certain things. So digital literacy, in as much as digital money, online banks and all that have made it so easy, fintechs have made it so easy for the informal sector to be able to access money via USSD, we also need to be very careful. So we need to take a step further. What happens when your phone gets stolen? What are the necessary measures you can take to quickly block that particular line before you get to the bank and you're crying that, oh, my money is being this. We need to take that step further. Now, it's also good that there's a decline in online fraud and all that, because not last year, 2 years ago, we had the issue of I Just Got Back, whereby they use their international cards to make payments in Nigeria, and they go back there and stop that.
Yeah, and stop the payment and reclaim their monies.
Now there's a two-factor authentication that's been brought into it to reduce all that.
To stop it, not
to stop it, yes, basically to stop it. So awareness, people really need to be aware. How can I protect my phone? Because your phone is the easiest access into your bank account. So how can I protect my phone? What are the measures I need to put in place? Some phones now, once it gets stolen.
Is it your phone or your SIM card?
Your phone and your SIM, because whether you like it or not, there are some certain information you put on your phone.
Okay.
Apart from your SIM card, on your phone. Yes, your phone number or your may and may not be linked to your account, depending on the SIM card you are using. How accurate can it be blocked immediately? What are the steps, like I said, that you can take? These are some of the things we should be looking at now. Can we have, if you have a SIM card, can you have an alternative SIM card whereby if your phone is stolen, you can use your alternative SIM card to block that
particular one that is gone? Also add this to your submission. The country is looking at covering the 774 local governments with internet access, all thanks to financial inclusion. With this particular agenda seeing the light of the day and working, do you see us also being able to clamp down or completely, at least to a large extent, also stop fraud from happening? Because a lot of these people that we are going to in rural areas are not as aware as those in the commercial cities.
Yes.
So what can we do as we are getting them into the financial system, into the banking system, to also make sure that they're protected?
Yes, we should also make sure that they're protected. We still have an issue of how many people actually have BVNs. Now, that's one of the issues we need to also look at.
Once you have a bank account, you
have a BVN. And we've also seen cases whereby two names, or one name has two different. If you remember this particular artist who complained that someone opened a bank account in his name and was using it to one of the P-Square twins. He came out to say it. He called the bank.
We are Nigerians. We are Africans. We see a lot of people that bear same names.
Okay.
It's all over the place.
The same.
Yes, exactly.
The same three names.
Yes,
same thing.
I've seen that.
So what necessary step can the financial institution
now,
do?
What differentiates now is age, language, place of birth.
Yes.
That's why you have that on your age, date of birth.
But this person said that this particular person was using...
And that's for fraud.
Yes. And he called the bank that how would the bank register this particular person, knowing fully that there's someone else who bears this name with this particular account. And this person was using that same name to commit all kinds of fraud in his own name, in the actual person's name. So I think the bank also needs to tighten up their own end. Also, They need to tighten up their own. As you are bringing in the informal sector, you need to also educate them. You need to let them know that certain informations are not to be given out. A lot of people go online and they do all kinds of registration, and most of these registrations require your BVN, NIN. So you have to be very careful where you drop them. We also hear of Google having certain access to your personal account. And we've seen whereby influencers have come out now to tell you that there are certain things you need to do on your phone to block even Google and the rest of them from having access. Because once a scammer or a fraudster has or hacked, we've seen whereby even Apple was hacked. There was a time, I think 2 years ago, when Apple was hacked and a lot of celebrities had their whatever on social media. So we need to take that step further. In as much as these banks are bringing in the formal sector, you need to ensure that they are also protected. And digital literacy must be included.